Hello everyone, today we are going to compare Polychorus XO and Polychorus Big Box Reissue versions. Are there any sonic difference between these when it comes to different voltage operations and circuit designs? Let's find out. First, let's take a look at the chassis design. The Big Box has the old big electro-harmonics chassis. This can be seen on many other old EHX pedals like Deluxe Memory Man, Polychorus, and Electric Mistress, which is a classic design, made with rigid stainless steel with a brushless finish. The color, especially on the label like the green squares, looks very vivid, deep, and rich in saturation. We have a big Polychorus text with 3 square boxes, black and 2 green, and the text style is simplistic and bold. Under the Poly text, we have a classic style of Electro-Harmonics logo name on it, and the sublabel analog flange/chorus can be seen on the pedal under the bigger chorus text. In the green box, you will see the Made in USA text on the below box with the engage switch above it. And the box above will have a power LED and the power text on it. Each knob also has a thin text like the old original Electro-Harmonics small clone has. The input, output, and power jack interfaces are clamped on the above side, while the power input jack is located under. And each interface label indicates all the jacks, which one is which. On the flip side, in the XO version, the chassis had been redesigned to a modern 2010s Electro-Harmonics design, hence the XO design. The box is now squared up and loaded on the corner, while it shrinks smaller, almost 2 times the big box version. The weight also feels like it has been reduced by 2 times too, as the chassis is made of thick aluminum instead of thin stainless steel. The pedal faceplate is filled entirely with a green background and various decals to make it more psychedelic feel to it. The painting itself is somewhat more yellow tint with brighter and paler green. At the center, the stereo Polychorus analog flange/chorus with the same font as the big box version can be seen. All 6 knobs are located on the top of the pedal, with each text representing the functionality of the knobs, and the knobs are a mini-size Electro-Harmonic style. At the below center, the engaging switch can be seen. This made engaging the pedal easier as the switch is located more ergonomic at the center. On the above pedal, the power input can be seen with a 9 volts power label. The connection locations are different as the input jacks and 2 output jacks are located on both sides of the pedal. Both have identical knobs controls, which are width, weight, tune/delay, feedback, and more controls. Both also have the overload LED on the chassis to indicate the headroom of the pedal that the original Polychorus doesn't have. However, the big box version has an on-off switch, which can actually turn off the pedal itself, and the XO version doesn't. And more importantly, the polarity of the power input jack from the factory is reversed and the pin is a bit bigger, about 2.5mm on the big box version. Upon inspecting briefly, both Polychorus have similar schematic designs, with Polychorus XO differently slightly due to 9 volts and redesigned circuit operation. Both use the same IC components such as bucket briquette delay chips, op-amp, or flip-flop chips. Let's take a look at measurement. The setup we will use to measure will be input source or guitar to Polychorus and into audio interface. I would use the SSL2 Plus as both the output source and input source, and would try to calibrate the volume loudness of sine waves as if it has the same loudness as the pedal has received the same loudness as the amplified guitar sound, with the gain setting on the audio interface. Also, according to Polychorus XO's manual, the unit can also be operated with 12 volts power input, so we will take that measurement too. First off, let's measure the bypass performance. In the first frequency response graph, we will see the Polychorus XO performance on 9 volts. As you can see, the bypass buffer has a flat response throughout the graph, with the same perceptual loudness as if the pedal is not connected, which I calibrated at around -12 decibels. As you may say that it has a true bypass circuit. How about the stereo bypass? I've read online that the buffer will not be the true bypass if it was used as stereo outputs. But here you can see the frequency response graphs shows that it still had a flat response when it was also loaded with another dummy in stereo. Whether it used the 2 buffer bypass circuits or not, your guitar tone shouldn't be affected by this as the bypass has an excellent result. This can also be said the same as the big box Reissue. Both pedals have an excellent bypass performance in both mono and stereo modes, as you can see the graph on the screen. Let's measure the output performance. By using the self-oscillation on both pedals, we can compare the maximum output loudness of self-oscillating, or you can say the actual effect output itself for the standard point. As you can see on the dial, the big box version can output at least minus 4.2 decibels. However, the XO version can at least output at minus 5.5 decibels on both 9 volts and 12 volts operations. This means that the big box version is louder at least by 1.3 decibels. On the other hand, on the XO version, 9 volts and 12 volts however found no difference in output capability. Also, I would like to point out the first major difference that the tune/delay settings are not the same on both. Because the XO version has a higher delay time, therefore it's oscillating differently from the big box, and I will discuss this later on in this video on how this contributes to overall functionality difference. Electro-harmonics claim that the XO version has a lower noise floor due to the redesigned power management circuit. I boost the EQ gain by about 36 dB, so I will subtract that amount later on the screen. In the graph measurement, the 9 volts XO version has roughly allowed minus 117 dB by average on bypass mode, and the noise rises up to roughly minus 108.67 dB on average when engaged on double track mode minimum settings. So the noise floor has been lifted by about 8.33 dB, but I doubt that the noise floor would be noticeable. The dynamic range of the effects when engaged would be roughly 103.17 dB, which is a good performance. How about the 12 volts operation? I measured the noise floor and here are the results. In the graph measurement, the bypass mode noise floor is roughly about minus 113.5 dB by average. When engaged with effects with the same settings, the noise rises up to roughly minus 109.5 dB on average. So the noise floor has been lifted by about 4.17 dB. This also shows that the noise floor is minimal and you shouldn't be able to detect the noise. The dynamic range of effects when engaged would be roughly 104 dB, which is also a good performance. By comparison between 9 volts and 12 volts Polychorus XO, the dynamic range of 12 volts is a tad better than 9 volts by 0.83 dB, which is very minimal, and I highly doubt that this would make a difference. Moving on to the big box reissue. So I measured the noise floor of the bypass first, and the noise floor is roughly about minus 118 dB on average. And when engaged with the same settings, the noise goes up to minus 109.5 dB on average, making the noise floor has been increased by 8.5 dB. The overall dynamic range would be 105.3 dB, which is superior to the Polychorus XO 9 volts by 2.13 dB and the 12 volts by 1.3 dB. This means the big box is better in terms of overall dynamic range, and it can be said the same that the noise floor has no improvement on the XO version from the big box either. Both Polychorus XO and the big box have great overall noise, dynamic range, and headroom performance. And I believe that this reason alone shouldn't be decided between these two pedals, as the dynamic range of both is more than enough and identical. How about real practice use? First, let's talk about what is similar to these pedals. First, width and sweep blade knobs, which is more noticeable in chorus mode, have the same length and pitch shifting. Second, feedback delay is the same on both pedals in chorus and double track mode. Third, delay buffer stage is the same on both pedals and they are distorted the same. And here are the real big difference between the XO version and the big box version that I found. First, the tune/delay knob on the big box version has a shorter delay time than the XO version in both minimal and maximum settings. Second, in the flanger or filter matrix mode, the feedback delay functionality on the big box remains the same, which on the maximum feedback setting can do self-oscillating. This is not the case with the XO version, which does alter the feedback behavior and cannot do self-oscillating. Third, the overall loudness of the big box is just louder. How does translate in by all means? This would obviously mean that, first, flanger and filter matrix mode behave differently on both pedals, as the tune/delay and feedback knobs function differently. The result is they don't sound the same. Second, XO version can't fully do the crazy sound as the big box does, like what Polychorus is supposed to be. Third, the tonal voice of both pedals is the same, or at least very identical, when they are dialed close together enough. In conclusion, both pedals sounded great and were considered good pedals and had unique EHX vibes. Both sounded similar, although the real difference is the functionality, as you can hear in comparison. In my opinion, the XO version is already great enough if you like its chorus, filter matrix mode and double track mode already, or you had a cramped space on a pedal board and don't want to deal with 24 volts of annoyance. But if you really want more flangy in flanger sound, or looking more into crazy stuff from the big box, you are more likely to opt for the big box version anyway. Thanks for watching. It was fun doing this little fun experiment. If you find this helpful, please leave a like on this video and maybe check out my other videos as well. Thanks for watching again and see you next time.